Hi there. Welcome to Your Aha Life, the podcast for those who want more for their lives, more joy, more purpose, and more fulfillment. I'm your host, Tanya Harris Cornelius. In each episode, I will bring you stories of insight and inspiration to help you craft the life you dream of living, your Aha Life. After listening to today's podcast, follow me over to my private Facebook group, the AHA Community, and on Instagram at tanya.yourahalife, and we'll continue the conversation. Now let's get started. Hi there, this is Tanya. Welcome back to Your Aha Life. I am flying solo tonight. It is night, I'm by myself, and I have a topic that I've been wanting to do now for a few weeks. The name of this is "Don't Settle for a Half Life," and it all just came together as I was actually writing my blog post, and I came across Kahlil Gibran's, the poet's, poem called Half Life. And I thought, wow, the word settle has been in my spirit for a few weeks. And this poem called Half Life, I was like, okay, that's got to come together. And that's what I'm talking about tonight. So don't settle for a half life. And I just want to set it up for you a little bit. You are a whole person. We are whole people. So why would a whole person settle for half life? This episode, again, is inspired by the poem Half Life from Kahlil Gibran. And in it, I explore the reasons why people settle and how we can stop. I say we because if we're honest, we've all settled at one point in our lives, in one area of our life, at some time or another. And hopefully we're getting better about that. But this episode will dig into why people settle and how we can stop so that we get the most out of our lives. So I'm going to start by reading the poem. And please feel free to, rewind, go back and listen to it again and again to let it just absorb it, because it does set the tone for the rest of the episode. So here I go. It says, "Do not love half lovers. Do not entertain half friends. Do not indulge in works of the half-talented. Do not live half a life. And do not die a half death. If you choose silence, then be silent. When you speak, do so until you are finished. Do not silence yourself to say something, and do not speak to be silent. If you accept, then express it bluntly. Do not mask it. If you refuse, then be clear about it. For an ambiguous refusal is but a weak acceptance. Do not accept half a solution. Do not believe half truths. Do not dream half a dream. Do not fantasize about half hopes. Half a drink will not quench your thirst. Half a meal will not satiate your hunger. Half the way will get you nowhere. Half an idea will bear you no results. Your other half is not the one you love. It is you in another time, yet in the same space. It is you when you are not. Half a life is a life you didn't live, a word you have not said, a smile you postponed, a love you have not had, a friendship you didn't know. To reach and not arrive, work and not work, attend only to be absent, What makes you a stranger to them closest to you, and they strangers to you? The half is a mere moment of inability, but you are able, for you are not half a being. You are a whole that exists to live a life, not half a life. Oh my God, that is, whoa. I mean, I'm reading it and seeing the words right in front of me, and it's just so powerful. And again, listen to it over and over if you need to. So I want to get into this of why we settle. Why do we settle for less than we deserve? Let me add that we settle in so many different areas of our lives. The first that we think about is in the area of relationships. But believe me, we settle in more than relationships. We settle physically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, at home, at work, socially. I mean, you name it. There are so many, all the areas of our lives are fair game to settling. And a settled life or settling life. So there's a difference between feeling settled and settling. You know, I was talking to an AHA community member earlier today, and we were talking about that, you know, that one word and how it can be used differently. But I just want to say, I want you, as you're listening to me today, to keep an open mind and listen, be introspective, think about in what area of your life might you be settling and why. And then at the end, I'll tell you ways in which you can not settle anymore and get the life that you truly deserve. So I'm going to start by quoting from a blog article that I read as I was preparing for this episode. And the blog article was written by Jasmine Cerna. It's from the blog P.S. I Love You. I thought she did a super good job here, just really nice in capturing, a lot of the reasons why people settle, how settling shows up. And she quoted a licensed therapist named Terry Gaspard. I hope I'm saying these names correctly. But this therapist identified I think it's 4 or 5 four telltale signs to know that when you are settling in relationships, because that is one of the main areas in which we find people settling, or where we may have even settled or be settling even now. So, what are some of the telltale signs? Number one, the relationship brings you down instead of building you up. And your significant other doesn't inspire you to even be your best self. That's number one. Number two, you're emotionally, or in some cases, physically abused. Number three, you've been cheated on repeatedly. And number four, you are the one who has to continually morph to accommodate to meet your partner's expectations, needs, or desires. So that's in relationships, and that's what the therapist gave as some telltale signs in Jasmine Cerna's blog post. I wanted to just think about how some of those things show up in other areas of our lives, though. So let's talk about this. You're constantly the one having to cover for someone else. Take on someone else's responsibilities at work, for example, without getting any credit. Number two, you're denied repeatedly promotion opportunities, although the work just keeps adding up. Number three, in your spiritual life, you remain at a church or synagogue, although you feel like you've outgrown it and you're getting nothing else from going to those services, but you go because you don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings. Number 4, you set goals, but then you end up prioritizing other things over those goals, so you end up not making any progress. You get the point. Those are ways in which we settle in our lives. And settling can show up again, as I said, in almost any area of your life, because settling is a mindset and settling is a habit. But just for those reasons alone, the good news is we can change our mindset. We can change our mindset and we can create or develop new habits. So I want to talk about that. Now, why do people settle? I've covered how settling might show up, but why do people settle? I listed some things here from just things I know as well as things I've read. Number 1, comfort. Yeah, that's the old comfort zone. We're comfortable, so we settle. We're comfortable and we think, why should I rock the boat? After all, things could be worse. And so we settle. And again, I want to make a distinction between feeling settled, content, happy, life is not chaotic. Settled is different from settling. And I think we know the difference here. Number 2 is kind of related to the first one. The close enough mentality. Hey, it's close enough. It's not great, but it's not bad. This is all tied to perfectionism as well. Believe it or not, perfectionism is one of the reasons we end up settling, because we, in perfectionism, everything has to be perfect. So it actually can stall us from making any moves forward. So this good enough mentality, this perfectionist mentality, or some of the reasons and why we end up settling. We say nothing's perfect. It's pretty good, and I don't want to try for perfection because if I run short of that, then I'm going to feel bad. Number 3, we don't have faith that something better will come along. This happens a lot in relationships. We stay in relationships that we know are not really our ideal relationships, whether this is a significant other or even friendships. We tolerate things because we don't have faith that something better is in store for us or will come. Number 4, guilt. Yeah, guilt. The person may feel that they've reached a certain level through luck, and to ask for any more, they would feel guilty asking for that. This is all tied up to I'm not deserving of more. I'm not deserving of this because I haven't really earned it in the first place. I'm just lucky to be here. Very closely related to the lack of self-worth, self-doubt, low self-esteem. All of those things say, I'm not enough. That's what it's saying. I'm not enough. The next one, I'm not sure what number I'm on, 5 or 6. It's we settle out of selflessness. Yeah, this is like the Marianne Williamson poem, why we shrink. This is the person who plays small because they don't want to make others feel bad. They don't want to hurt a friendship. They don't want to be thought of badly by their coworkers. They may refuse a promotion because the promotion may mean that they will now be managers to their peers, and they will shrink from that. So shrinking, playing small, Meaning, and they do that out of an act of selflessness, not wanting to hurt somebody else's feelings. Some other reasons include victim. So, yeah, playing the victim. It's somebody else's fault that we're in the position that we're in. Procrastination. I'm gonna do it when I get around to it later. I'll do that later. And so we settle. We settle for where we are. Overthinking it, paralysis by analysis. So we end up not making any moves at all. And then, yeah, here we go, comparing ourselves to others. So I'm not as great as she is, so why try? Or jealousy. Those are things that can keep us stuck and keep us settling for less than we deserve in life. Most, if not all, of the reasons that I have just mentioned come down to, you guessed it, I'm sure you guessed it, fear. Fear. Fear is the root of settling. Afraid of success, again, like the promotion, we don't want to stand out. It could make us look vulnerable. We might, have success and it makes other people feel badly, as I said. So, fear of success and fear of being vulnerable. Um, Fear of failure, which means we are afraid that we might be shamed, or that we will somehow let others down. So we might as well just settle. Wow, all of that, right? So many reasons why, and I'm sure that there are many reasons that I have not even mentioned. But the thing is that we're living below our means. We're living below our capabilities. We're living below all that life has to offer us. And when I think about Mary Oliver's quote that I always go back to, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? I think about, yeah, we have this one life and we're settling. And like Kahlil Gibran says, we are whole people living half lives. So means we're not living at all, really. We're not living the life that is for us. So whether we're settling in relationships, whether we're settling at work, whether we're settling in our social life, our finances, our spiritual lives, wherever that exists, let's root it out. Let's call it for what it is. So let's, be honest with ourselves, because you don't have to even share this with anyone else if you don't want to. But just go into your own space and reflect and be honest and say, am I settling? Am I doing this out of fear? Am I fear of success or fear of failure? Am I afraid that I'm going to shame myself or shame others who believe in me and let someone down? Am I afraid of losing what I have, and so I just stay right where I am? Whatever those reasons are, let's call it for what it is. It's a lie. It's a lie, and it's keeping you stuck, and it's keeping you from living the life that you know in your heart of hearts that you want to live. And so the rest of this podcast, I want to share some things with you on how you can stop settling. First is to recognize when you are. Awareness is always the first step in our transformation. So recognize if you are settling. You may do that through just going, again, being alone with yourself, through meditation, reflective exercises like journaling will help get out, are you settling and why are you settling? So that's number one. Recognize when you are Bring your awareness to that as the first step to transformation. Secondly, then get to the root of why you're settling. If it's fear, which I'm pretty sure it's playing some kind of role there because it usually is. Why are you afraid? And is that fear even rational? Most likely not. Fear is an illusion, and calling it for what it is, and asking it: is it true? Is it logical? Is it constructive? It's never constructive if it's keeping you playing small. I think about what Elizabeth Gilbert says, and she talks about fear. She said fear is going to come along for the ride. Let's just call it. It's going to come along for the ride. But keep the fear in the back seat or maybe even on the passenger side. Never let fear drive. Fear does not get the car keys. Fear does not drive. So it's going to be there. Even successful people, even people who are living life to the fullest, they are not void of fear. They're just not letting fear take control. They're not letting fear drive. So some people say embrace the fear. I don't know about embracing it, but call it for what it is. Name it. Because as soon as you name the fear, it loses power. And so, yeah, so the second one is get to the root of why you're settling. What is the fear that is getting in your way? Thirdly, ask yourself, what would be possible if I were not afraid? So, yeah, start envisioning, start thinking big, start seeing the life that you really want, start seeing the relationship that you really deserve, start seeing the job that you really will have joy doing. Start seeing that. What are those possibilities if you don't let fear drive, or whatever the other reasons might be that I mentioned earlier? The next one, if you are the accommodator in a relationship, whether that's a significant other, a family member, coworker, or whatever, if you're the one who is always morphing and having to accommodate the other person, stop rationalizing that. Stop rationalizing that, hey, I just want peace. I don't want any trouble here. I don't, stop rationalizing that. You're keeping yourself from living your best life. That's too big a price to pay. And stop rationalizing the other person's behavior as well. Let's call everyone into accountability here, starting with yourself and then certainly with others. The next one, don't play the victim. Yeah, so we talked about blaming others. Let's not blame others for the position that we find ourselves. There are grown people well into age who are still perhaps blaming their parents. And don't get me wrong, I know this can be quite serious and maybe needs therapy to resolve these unresolved issues, but take action. And yeah, blaming others just leaves you stuck. You're the one that's not moving. You're the one that's not living the life that you want to live, living half lives. So let's not play the victim. And certainly, if you find yourself in a really serious situation where an abusive relationship, for example, please seek help. Please seek help. Yeah. Talk to someone who you trust and who will help you. Now, this one is for everyone because we all need it. Ask for support from someone who wants the best for you. We all need support at some time, and asking for help is a sign of strength. Seek therapy or coaching to help you address deeper unresolved issues related to low self-esteem or self-limiting beliefs. That's that. So that's a lot of help. You can bundle that all together, like seeking help from others. The next one I have here is express what you desire and repeat it often. So this is where, I don't know, affirmations come in. Some people think about law of attraction, but I just say speak what you want. Our words are energy and our words have power. So speak the kind of relationship, the kind of job, the kind of finances you want, or whatever. Speak those things into existence. Say those affirmations over and over. They show you what is possible for yourself, what is possible for your life. The next one is set goals to move in the direction of what you want. Set goals and a plan of action. Create new habits that move you in a positive direction, and seek an accountability partner who's going to be with you every step of the way. The next one, I think this is the last one that I have, is surround yourself with others who are also committed to living their best lives. We love company. Misery loves company, but also success. We become like the people that we surround ourselves with. So surround yourself with someone who refuses to settle. And I know that will rub off on you. If you are the one who has refused to settle, then make sure you're being that friend, that family member, that coworker, that partner to someone who might be settling in an area of their lives. I'll end by saying this. My daddy, I'm a daddy's girl. My daddy has told me something for years. And it stuck with me. It still sticks with me. I'm not always successful with it, but he said, sweetheart, select, don't settle. Now, he was sharing that with me in the context of relationships, because I have settled in relationships before. And he would tell me that, select, don't settle. So take action, be deliberate, be intentional, know your worth. This is what my dad was saying to me. Know your worth. And those are words of wisdom that I share with you. And when we live a life settling for less than what we deserve, we're just setting ourselves up for a life of unhappiness and a life of regret. That is not living our best lives, and is certainly not living our aha lives. I want so much more for you, and I want it for myself as well. So let's not settle. Let's not settle for less than we deserve. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another episode. So I'll leave you now and just say I wish you more joy, more purpose, and more fulfillment. Bye. Thank you for joining me. Come back again for another episode that will inspire you to live the life you dream about and the life that you're meant to live. Now head on over to my private Facebook group, the AHA Community, and to Instagram at tanya.yourahalife, and let's continue the conversation. I'm Tanya Harris Cornelius, and this is Your AHA Life.